Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us in this webinar. I think we have people who have joined us now. Also, we have a good number of people who have joined us. Thank you very, very much for joining us in this today's seminar. So we're just about to start briefly and quickly. We'll have a chance for question and answer later on as we finish this particular webinar. Please feel free to put your questions on the chat, and then we'll be able to address some of the questions and concerns that you may have. We believe that we'll be able to address them and also help you in understanding the program as we proceed. So please, once again, let me just remind you that if you have any questions or concerns, put them in the chat and we'll be able to proceed. So today, this evening, I'm also joined with some of my colleagues. You will see some of them in the chat who are available just in case you might need anything. We'll be able to work together to help you to understand the program and also be able to address some of the concerns that you may have for today. So I guess without any much ado, let me start this webinar for today. Once again, thanking you, all of you, for coming and for being part of this particular program. Just a brief introduction about who Cotecna is, our presence, where we are. We are headquarters in Switzerland, and we started in the year 1974. And so far, we've been able to grow to every part of the world, as you can see: North America, South America, Africa and the Middle East, Europe, Asia, with almost 7,400 employees working in more than 50 countries so far. We have over 180 offices and laboratories globally. So we are talking about a global company that is willing to meet you at your need, being very locally active in Ethiopia for this particular matter. As you continue, let me just also briefly explain some of our services and the industries that we're involved in. I've already mentioned about our global footprint in terms of the countries and offices that we are, the number of clients and employees, and our foundation where we started from in Switzerland. We also offer other services that we are involved in, testing services, certification services, technical training and assistance services. This would include things to do with laboratory training, management systems, etc. Supply chain assurance. Over and above just certification for COC, we can also give you an assurance in your supply chain. Maybe it's a loading inspection, discharge supervision, training, etc. within the supply chain, swabs. All those things are done there, also including testing services. And in terms of our industries, we are really multifaceted in terms of our industries. Apart from just agriculture, we do food and pharma, metals and minerals, certifications for sustainability solutions, especially for ESG, consumer products. All these are part of the industries that we're involved in. So we're not just for COC, we also do quite a number of services across the board. And I believe that we can be able to help you in your supply chain issues. Next, please. Moving along, we just wanted to bring to you an idea about who we are, how we do it the Cotecna way, and why we feel like that the Cotecna way is part and parcel of how we exude our services to you as our clients on a day-to-day basis. We dream, we dare, and we deliver. We dream that we can be an essential partner, a close partner in all the services that we issue, both testing, inspection, certification. And we do that because we have a technical expertise. We innovate our services and our approach towards what you do. Our proximity to you is very easy. We are very close to you. I believe we have been very close to you so far. And how we react, we are very quick to react. We are quite agile in our reaction towards some of the problems that you may have, or even solutions that you need. We're able to customize them and react very, very quickly to them. We dare each other to be like challengers, like risk takers, to help you with solutions to meet your needs, tailored to your needs. So sometimes what you do and what someone else does and products could be different, but we tailor solutions so that all of them are able to meet the end goal, which is for you to be compliant. And we deliver. We always deliver. Our promise to you is that we'll deliver according to what we believe we're able to do for the services that we offer to you. All right, so for this webinar for today, we're talking about PVoC and what is PVoC? What is it? Can we understand what is PVoC? So pre-export verification of conformity is just a program, a mechanism or a program that has been instituted by a government to ensure that these goods comply to an approved standard. It could be a mandatory or just an approved standard, whatever standard that is. And for this case in Ethiopia, we have the ES standards. And this conformity then is, how is it done? How do you comply? You comply because you do conformity assessment through documentary checks, through testing, physical inspection of the goods at the point of origin or in transshipment sometimes through factory audits before they come into Ethiopia. So what PVoC does is that it ensures that there is an element of quality, safety regulations are met, even health regulations have been met before goods are therefore sent into the importing country and able to meet the consumer's needs. Next slide. So that's how PVoC is. It's just pre-export before it has actually been sent off. Then there's a way in which you're able to comply and look at all the needs that are required to meet the importing country needs, in this case, Ethiopia. So why PVoC? PVoC with Cotecna and with us helps you to speed up your customs clearance so that at the time of clearance with customs, then you're able to show a COC, a certificate of conformity issued by Cotecna, helps you to clear your goods very, very quickly, protects the local businesses because if you have goods that are coming in that should compete with the businesses that are already, or products that are already in the market, they should be also of the similar standard or even better. And any harmful products that is kept outside of the market. You don't want any bad things coming into Ethiopia. We also want to reduce delays in terms of demurrage charges at the ports. We've tried very, very much to make sure that goods are certified in good time before they come into Ethiopia. By the time they're landing in Ethiopia, then in whichever port it is, Addis or wherever it is, then they already have a certificate of conformity for them to be cleared. And also can help you as an importer or an exporter to be able to select who's the best exporter out there. Can they meet the requirements of Ethiopia for that particular matter? We believe this also helps the government to enforce the rules that are required with regards to importation of goods into Ethiopia. Saves you money by avoiding any bad products. You can imagine if you send your goods all the way to Ethiopia, then you tell you they are not complying. So who takes the blame? Who takes the cost for those goods once they land in Ethiopia? More than everything else, I think PVoC helps to ensure that the products are safe, they're reliable, they meet the environmental quota, environmental needs, and they also supports fair and smooth trade. Next slide, please. So those are the benefits of PVoC when you're working with us. When you don't comply, then what happens? What are the risks that are there when you don't comply with PVoC? All right. Apart from that, reputational damage, which means what? People will think this person is always dealing with bad products. Why should we deal with them? There are also financial penalties, okay, that comes with seizure of goods, maybe destruction of goods at the port, or when that time comes because they'll be refused entry into the country. There could be legal consequences whereby now criminal charges can be met depending on the legal framework that has been put in there, legal notice, whatever that is available at that particular point in time. But also your operational disruption. All right, next slide. Means that now if you had planned that you're going to sell these goods at this particular time, you're going to have them for this particular market price, etc. So as a business person and a business owner, then of course there'll be some disruptions as a result of that. So please comply. With Cotecna will help you to comply as much as possible. Who are the main stakeholders of PVoC? PVoC is basically a triune kind of operation in terms when it comes to stakeholders. The main stakeholder here being the people who have given us this job, the governments of the importing country. All right, they give us the job and they give the mandate to a third party to operate. They define which standards, which requirements, and then they give the third party, like for us, Cotecna, to inspect, to verify, are these products complying to these standards? And if they are, please issue a certificate of conformity. If they don't, then please stop them and issue a non-conformity report. So the government issues the program and gives you the mandate to do the job. We come in and do the job, and then you as the exporters and importers and traders and manufacturers, whoever you are in that supply chain, your job is to trade properly, appropriately, with the safe products, that they comply with the requirements, with the standards, collaborating with us as Cotecna to make sure that the goods actually meet the required standards, etc. So that is important. So the three of us work together. Next slide, please. We work together to make sure that this particular program runs very, very well. And so everyone has got a role to do as an importer and exporter, as the government, or the government body, the ministry, for that matter, and us as Cotecna working all of us together as a good harmonic triune pattern. So our process as we do this particular conformity assessment given by the government before shipment is that we do a few things to make sure that the goods get a certificate of conformity, which is what we intend everyone to get for this particular matter. Is number one, we do a preliminary verification. What does that mean? It means we receive the documents, we do a documentary check, we define the scope. Do we need to, which it falls where? Do we need to do any further information, inquiry? Do we need to ask more questions, etc.? So this preliminary verification is very critical because it gives us a good snapshot of what we are starting with, which is the starting point. After that, we go into the operation of it. Operation would mean what? Based on the documentary check, do we need to do any tests, further tests, in terms of either sampling, lab analysis, or do a factory audit for that particular matter? And inspection is also carried out at that particular point in time. What we mean by inspection is pre-shipment inspection means that we have an inspector who will go verify the goods that are the correct goods that you are saying. So if you say I'm exporting generators, then the inspector must confirm it is generators and not something else, motors or another different product. When that happens, then we come to the assessment, which is now to ensure that this particular good meet the required applicable standards or any technical regulations that have been put forward by the government for you to comply. That is the assessment part, which is very critical. There's a back and forth to ensure that everything works well. We have a technical department that sits behind the scenes and is able to evaluate every document that comes in, every inspection that comes in to ensure that certification is done. Even during the assessment, you can be able to verify that if perhaps you say that you have generators and also the shipment has other things inside, then during the assessment, you can be able to go back to the client and say, your invoice told us that you only have generators, you have other products, can you confirm? And in that confirmation, then you're able to do a back and forth and be able to give you your certificate. When it comes to certification, then we issue you a certificate of conformity if the goods have complied and passed through section 1, 2, and 3, as it were, so that you can be able to get a COC for importation into Ethiopia. If there's a problem, then we issue a non-conformity report. But even at the assessment part, we're able to quickly communicate with you, come back to you and tell you, we see there's a problem here, or can you please change this marking? It's not maybe particular. Then you do that particular back and forth during the assessment part for you to get a COC. Our intention is for you to certify and to comply with the requirements of the importing country of Ethiopia. Over and above that, there's surveillance that is done. Next slide, please. The surveillance basically is to make sure that you keep on complying with this particular standards, this particular program. We don't want you to just be a one-off or a one-hit wonder, so to speak. We want you to also continue complying. So we keep on surveilling, looking at the products, looking at the client, looking at the company. Are you doing the same thing that you were doing last time, or have you changed some things? Because sometimes that change would mean that there's a change in terms of operations, maybe change in terms of quality, etc. So it's important that also that surveillance is important. So that is the process on how we do our certification process here in Cotecna. It's very simple and straightforward. Will help you to be able to meet the requirements of certification into Ethiopia. Now, going forward, I will allow my colleague, Abel Ayele, who's actually from Ethiopia right now in Addis, will take us through the next section of the PVoC program in Ethiopia, into an in-depth analysis on how this program came to be, how it operates, what are the requirements, etc., and to be able to take you through that. Abel, over to you. Thank you very much. Yes, you can. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Wesley. Wesley has given us a generic service that we provide to the POV regarding the POV program. So I will focus on the program of Ethiopia. So like any other country in the world, Ethiopia has adopted this PVoC program for many years, and Cotecna has been mandated by the Ministry of Trade and Regional Integration to provide this service, the Pre-Export Verification of Conformity. So in this process, Cotecna is mandated to provide the pre-export verification of conformity in line with the Ethiopian standards. So making sure that every shipment that is regulated is conforming with the standards of Ethiopia. So Cotecna and Ministry of Trade has a history back. In 2022, we started out with the Ministry of Trade with standalone solar products. So the PVoC program was conducted by Cotecna since 2022, and in 2024, other products are added to the program. 11 products in number were added into the program. So since then, we have been issuing certificate of conformity for those that comply with the standards that are provided. So under Ministry of Trade, the regulatory body and which actually regulates the program is Ethiopian Conformity Assessment Enterprise, which is an inspecting, testing, and certificating organization that is operating locally for local manufacturers and companies. So ECA is the regulatory body which actually regulates the PVoC program. So every shipment for regulated products, every shipment should be accompanied by a certificate of conformity, which is the certificate provided by Cotecna assures that those shipments are in conformity to the standards of Ethiopia. So this will be one of the requirements while importing products to the country. So the conformity certificate will be a mandatory document to accompany those shipments. So in 2024, as I have said earlier, 11 products were added to the program. The first program in 2022 was only standalone solar products only. Then 11 products were added, among them like chemical products, which includes mineral insulating oils, electrical components like circuit breakers and distribution transformers, household appliances like refrigerators and washing machines were added into the program, with motors and vehicles. Electric vehicles, induction motors, and agricultural tractors were added to the program. But later on, ECAE, Ethiopian Conformity Assessment Enterprise, removed electric vehicles from the program. So now we are having only 10 remaining on the program. Power generators, we are also inspecting and testing generators, and automotive components like vehicle batteries and vehicle tires are also part of this program. So all these shipments or these categories of goods are required to be accompanied by certificate of conformity from Cotecna whenever an exporters intend to export these products to Ethiopia, or any importer that is intending to import these products to the country. So for the other, these are mandatory. Any product that falls into these categories is by mandatory regulated, so they should have the certificate of conformity. Other than these products or other than these goods, clients, it should be the exporter or the importer, can ask for certification to make sure that the goods that are imported to the country are in conformity with international standards or any other standard that is assuring the quality, the safety of the product. So this will be handled by the voluntary certification program. So we have two schemes. The first one is mandatory scheme, which handles all the 10 products that I mentioned earlier, and the voluntary scheme handles other products which are not categorized on this list. So the pre-export verification of conformity has three major routes: route A, route B, and route C. They are divided on the just to facilitate the pre-export verification of conformity process. Route A is for infrequent exports, which means an exporter or an importer might infrequently import this kind of products to the country. For instance, at one time they may import batteries, the next shipment might be vehicle tires, and so in this kind of infrequent exports, the route which is preferred is route A, and this will be applied for all type of importers. And this handles the high-risk products, and the exporter's profile should also be taken into consideration because the exporter might not have any history with us. So we need to verify and make sure that everything is in conformity with the regulations and the standards. With route B, there is this kind of this route is for frequent exports, which is for instance, an exporter or importer might import a particular model to the country, and the frequency, like 10 times in a year or annually, they may ship these goods to the country in regular basis. And this route is preferable for homogeneous, consistent type of goods. So we make sure that this facilitates the experience of the exporter or importer with the PVoC program. Route C is for manufacturers and distributors, particularly with official distributors and brand owners. So this will reduce the time it takes for the PVoC program. Route B and Route C differentiates from Route A because they have additional certification program. The Route B is having a statement of registration, which means the exporter or the importer will register the products that are intended to be exported to Ethiopia, or the importer which is importing to the country. So those line of items will be registered with us because the exporter or importer is actually exporting these products frequently. So it doesn't have to go through Route A every time, applying and providing all the necessary documents and having inspections. So with these frequent exporters, they have a line of items that will be registered with our system, and we will provide a statement of registration for this kind of exporters with frequent export with homogeneous type of goods. With Route C, because they are manufacturer and they are official distributor of a particular brand, so those manufacturers will have a consistent type of production. So we will review the quality management system of the company or the manufacturer or the official distributor. So we provide Route C. So this type of clients will have statement of license. We will provide them with a statement of license so that they will register all the products and they can be having a safer and smoother experience with the PVoC program. So these are the three routes. The three routes have different payment scheme. So with the PVoC program, the Ethiopian PVoC program has a set payment scheme or fee scheme. So Route A will be having 0.75% of the FOB value on the commercial invoice or on the pro forma invoice. So 0.75% of the FOB value will be calculated, and we have a minimum of $265 US dollars and $2,700 US dollars as a maximum fee. So this includes the duties and taxes. No additional payment will be incurred on the exporter or the importer. So this is a set value for those exporters that are actually using Route A with infrequent shipment and high-risk items. With Route B, it's set with 0.6%, having the same minimum and maximum value of payment. Route C will have 0.4% of the FOB value, having the same minimum and maximum fee. But Route B and Route C has additional payment. For Route B, we have a payment for statement of registration, so that we have a list of items that are going to be registered with our system and provided on the statement of registration. And with Route C, statement of license, the brand that is going to be registered with us will also have to be having this statement of license. So the statement of license with Route C and the statement of registration with Route B will have additional payments, but this will highly promote or smoothen the experience of the PVoC certification process with the exporter and importer. So the above, the one which is shown here does not include any other services. The only service that is provided by this payment scheme, is we will verify the documentation. So as Wesley indicated the process, the first step is document verification. So this fee includes document verification, sampling, physical inspection, container sealing, if there is any, and issuance of the certificate of conformity whenever the goods are in conformity with the standard, and non-compliance report whenever the goods are not in conformity with the Ethiopian standard. So the above, the one which is depicted on the table includes or covers these services. But for the other services, like for instance, in Route C, we might need factory audit once in a year. So this will be another cost. Laboratory testing, statement of registration for Route B, and statement of license for Route C will have their own fee scheme. So this will be additional payments. But for general purpose, this calculation will be used to for the PVoC program. So what are the key steps for the exporters and importers so that they should be cautious of the steps they need to take? The first thing is identifying the products they are actually trying to import to the country. So as an exporter or as an importer, they need to know the requirements of the country. In this case, the Ethiopian government provides, or once in a while will have different requirements and regulations. So they need to identify the product requirements and the standards that are actually used for those, the Ethiopian standards. Then after identifying the products, if they are actually prohibited or allowed to enter to the country, then they need to initiate the application process with us. In order to receive the certificate of conformity, they need to apply for the certification. That will be the first step in the process. Then they will, through the process, we will ask to facilitate inspection and testing. At times, there will be physical inspection, and at times there could be remote inspection. And in case some of the documents are missing, or the exporter or importer might not be able to provide the documents, we might go to testing. So the client should be able to provide or be able to assist in the inspection process and provide the samples to the testing laboratories. So this is one of the steps in the export in the PVoC program. Then the final step is receiving the conformity document, certificate of conformity, whenever the goods are actually in conformity with the Ethiopian standard. They will receive certificate of conformity, which is the COC. And if in case the goods that are intended to be shipped to the country are not meeting the standards, the requirements of the Ethiopian government, then we will issue non-compliance report. This non-compliance report states that these items that were intended to be shipped to Ethiopia are not in line or are not fulfilling the standards of the country. So we will issue the non-conformity report. Next slide, please. So we will go in detail on these steps. The first step, as I mentioned earlier, is to know the requirements of the country. So different products have different requirements. For instance, foods, the food, electronics, textiles, and other commodities may have different requirements as per the requirements set by the government of Ethiopia. Ministry of Trade and ECAE will provide these documents, and the standard office, which is Ethiopian Standard Agency, sets the standards for each type of commodity that is actually planned to be imported to the country. So every shipment with different type of commodity category can have different requirements as the Ethiopian Standard Agency will set the standard. So Ethiopia has, as a country, Ethiopia has our own standard, Ethiopian standard. So every commodity should be in line with the Ethiopian standard. So the first thing is to identify the requirements for the planned commodity that is intended to be imported to the country. Then we need to, as an exporter or importer, we need to understand applicable standards, which is required by the country, the Ethiopian standards. So Ethiopian Standard Agency provides different standards for different type of goods. So it's readily available. They, as an importer, you can go to Ethiopian Standard Agency and procure the standards. So it will give you a general idea about the requirements of the standards. So as an exporter, you should also be familiarized with the Ethiopian standard, with the relevant standards that are required by the government. So these standards actually dictate the quality, the safety parameters, the labeling standards, the packaging requirements, and so on. So the standards actually dictate these points. And as a country, Ethiopia has, at different instances, have prohibited or restricted goods at different moments. For instance, in 2022, Ethiopia has banned about 38 categories of goods in certain like food, beverage, furniture, perfume, and fossil fuel power vehicles. This was said in 2022, but in 2024, the government removed all except the fuel-powered vehicles. So we need to know which products are actually allowed to enter to the country, and which are actually prohibited. So if an exporter wishes to import a fuel-powered vehicle to the country, this will be a loss for the exporter. So we need to know and identify the requirements provided by, required by the government. So we need to be familiar with the requirements. So in all of this, Cotecna could also assist in identifying the requirements for the regulated products. So we will also assist as certifying body. We can help you identify which products require what kind of standards, particular with the related with the regulated products. So the next step is, after identifying the requirements of the government, we need to, as an exporter or importer, we need to initiate the application with us. So the first thing is applying in time. Early engagement with us will benefit the exporter and importer, because sometimes clients may apply last minute when the shipment is actually en route or has arrived at the destination. So this will affect the process of the pre-export verification program, because pre-export verification is intended to be given before the products leave the initial country of origin. So early engagement with us will save a lot of time and money. So early engagement is key. So initiating the application with us is as early as possible is very important. So how does a client apply for certification? The first thing is to submit, fill and submit the request form. There is a request for certification form. We call it RFC. So the client will fill out important information. The form actually is fillable with required set of information questions. So the client or the importer or the exporter will fill out those informations so that we can be in full or have good knowledge of the exporter, the importer, port of destination, what kind of products that are intended to be exported. So we will have a general information, and we will accept this request form. So the applicant should fill out the RFC. In line with this, there is also another form which is giving us the details of the product, so that there is a product detail sheet. These two documents will be provided upon request. So we will provide these documents upon the initial contact with the client. Cotecna will provide these documents, so the client will be providing after filling the RFC. Then, accompanying this request form, we will also require the applicant to provide us with shipping documents. This includes either the pro forma invoice or the commercial invoice, the packing list, the bill of lading, and test reports. Among these, the main and important document is the test report. I don't mean to remove the other or demean the other document types, the commercial invoice, packing list, and bill of lading, but the test reports will give us the quality, the safety, which shows us that if that product meets the standards that is required by the government. So the test report provides all the quality standards required by the government. So the test report is very important. We don't accept all type of test reports. There is a specific type of test report which is required, which means the test report should be generated from an accredited laboratory. That accredited laboratory should be accredited by ISO 17025 standard. So that accreditation is required. So the test report should come from this accredited laboratory. Any other quality certificates are a plus. This will provide additional information about the product and can be considered as a plus. So these documents are required in line with, in addition to the RFC and the product details sheet. So after the document has been submitted to us, our technical team will review all the details, including the shipping document and the test reports, and if there is any quality management system documents, this will be reviewed with our technical team. Then we will go, if everything that is provided by the client is okay, we will go for the physical inspection. So we will see if the products are actually meeting with the documents that we have received. So the first thing is physical inspection. This could be done on site, like physically our employees would go to the site. It could be at the premises of the exporter or at the shipping point. So we will physically go there and inspect, or in some instances, we may use remote inspection, employing video inspection. So we will see different requirements and inspect the goods that are actually to be shipped to the country. So this will ensure goods are readily accessible and properly labeled and packaged are in conformity with the standards that are required. So we will see in the inspection process, the quantity will be checked, the packaging and labeling standards will also be checked, and the general condition also will be checked in the physical inspection. But in some instances, for instance, as I mentioned earlier, if the test report or the documents are not cannot be found, or the exporter or importer cannot provide these documents, we will go for testing. Cotecna, as Wesley has indicated during the first few slides, we have laboratories all over the country, all over the world, that can test products that are not actually meeting the requirements, or the test reports are not sufficient enough to attest that the product is in conformity with the standard required. So our laboratories are there to provide testing. This will be an additional service, and we will take samples. A representative sample will be taken and will provide testing. This is in case the test reports is not acceptable or is not fully providing the conformity of the product to the standards required. So testing verifies compliance with specific requirements. It could be chemical testing, it could be physical testing, or it could be performance testing, depending on the requirement of the test requirement of the product. So physical inspection will be handled whenever all the documents that are submitted to our office. That if the documents are not sufficient, we will take samples and go for testing. So whichever the case, whether it is physical inspection or testing, we will review our findings. We will review the findings in the document review. We will review the physical inspection reports. Then we will decide whether to provide the conformity document, certificate of conformity, or we might also be forced to give non-compliant report. So this, after reviewing, we will issue certificate of conformity if everything is okay and in compliance with the standard. So this is the whole process of the PVoC program, or the certificate of conformity application, from application to the issuance of the certificate. So what is the importance of this COC? The certificate of conformity is required by the government of Ethiopia to accompany all regulated shipments. So having these certificates will facilitate custom clearance, and in some instances with the banks, LC, one of the requirements for opening LC is to have this certificate of conformity accompanying the shipment. So banks and customs will require this certificate of conformity. So for custom clearance and for LC processing with banks, so this certificate of conformity is required. Recently, we came up with some fraudulent certificates. Banks and customs were facing fraudulent certificates as if Cotecna has issued the conformity document. So Cotecna has developed an innovative system that ensures those documents are secure and encrypted. So we developed eDocs system. It is a platform which is designed to secure and encrypt digital copies of our certificates. So for instance, as an importer, you might be concerned that the exporter sending out the certificate to you might be fraudulent, or you might not be sure if it's authentic. So this eDocs system will alleviate that concern for importers, especially for importers. This might be one of the concerns they might have, because in some instances I have also experienced that importers receiving fraudulent certificates from their exporters or their suppliers. So this eDocs system will alleviate that problem. Next slide, please. So eDocs is Cotecna's innovative platform designed to revolutionize the trade certificate management. eDocs has two parts. The first use is internal use, which is we make documents safe, more efficient, and transparent, so that we maintain the security and the encryptedness of the documents. So internally, we use it for securing and keeping the originality of e-documents. But for external use, there is a public access also, which is the eDocs validator, which means this part of the eDocs system will allow the public to check the validity of the document that is received by the client. So the client can receive, as an importer, maybe the exporter has sent out the certificate to the importer. So the importer might use this eDocs validator to check the authenticity of the document. So there is an internal part which is used by Cotecna alone, and there is a publicly accessible part, which is the validator, that will assist the client or the party that is actually interested in checking the validity of the certificate. Next slide, please. So why use eDocs? eDocs is a digital platform. It avoids fraud. We will check the authenticity of the documents, particularly the certificate of conformity. We will check the certificate authenticity by using eDocs. It avoids fraudulent or fraud. It will save time and money. It is easy to use. It doesn't take much time to check the validity of a document that you receive, and it doesn't require money, or there's no associated fee related with the use of this eDocs validator. And the last and very important part is it reduces the carbon footprint by avoiding printouts. So physical copies of certificates are actually on the process of, we are actually avoiding printouts. So this will reduce the carbon footprint of printouts. So these are some of the benefits why we choose to apply eDocs. One, it will avoid fraudulent documents, so it will make the trading fair, and it saves time and doesn't have any fees associated with that, and it reduces the carbon footprint. Without eDocs, there is a risk of forgery, and there is increased shipment cost. For instance, an importer receiving a fraudulent document and receive the shipment in the country, and during custom clearance, on the process of custom clearance, when it is found that the documents are forged, the importer will be affected. Either the shipment could be confiscated or forced to be returned to the source country. So this will add cost to the shipment and affect the importer. With the physical print, increased space, filing space is required. So this eDocs will avoid the filing space because it is digital. We can avoid this filing space. Next slide, please. So the key benefits of with eDocs is to enhance program enforcement. So if every document that is received by customs, by banks, or even by importers, if everything is ensured that the documents received are authentic, this will enhance the program enforcement. So every shipment will be forced to have an authentic certificate accompanying the shipment. So eDocs will ensure that the program is in place, it is enforced. The eDocs, the eDocs system does not require much training. It's so simple that we will see on the next slide, we will see a video depicting that it does not require any training at all. So it is an automated functionality that makes the system easy to use and save time. It improves security and trust. One of the major thing these days is trust, because many people, many importers, many exporters breach or affect the trust we have. So improving the security and trust is one of the benefits or the outcomes in using this validator, eDocs validator. So certificates are encrypted and secured. So the forgery is avoided, and related costs with forgery will be avoided too. Increased operational efficiency. It will streamline processes, improve productivity, and support the program. So because the program will be enforced properly, every shipment will be checked with the the certificate will be checked with this validator. So the major outcomes of using this eDocs validator is very important. Back to you, Wesley.
Thank you very much, Master Gnalo, Mr. Abel, and thank you all for staying with us. We're just about to wrap up this presentation right now in a few minutes. And if you have questions, of course, we have a chat where you can be able to put your questions, and we'll be able to have a Q&A time towards the tail end. We hope not to keep you for long after we finish. Very, very briefly, why you should choose to work with us. I think we've mentioned in our presentation about some of the advantages that we have. We just talked about the digital solutions. Apart from eDocs, we have the customer portal, which enables you to be able to interact even without calling anyone in an office to confirm about certification. Our competence is on a global scale. We have offices all over the world. We can be able to reach out and help you with your certification and inspection. Our local tailor support, Abel and the rest of the team in Addis are able to give you a very localized, tailored support with regards to inspection and whatever that you may need for your services coming in as an importer and even as an exporter. And of course, our expertise with regards to regulatory and technical expertise that we've done. Next slide, please. Over many, many years with many other jurisdictions in Africa. So we have a Telegram channel or link or number or group, as it's called, in Addis, in Ethiopia. Please, follow us in our Telegram and be able to give us information. You can be able to interact and chat with any of us, Abel, myself, and a few others who are running this particular program in Addis. Next slide, please. And also our Africa LinkedIn QR code, please scan us. Follow us as well. Get to know up-to-date, real-time information. Next slide, please, of what is happening within Cotecna, within our ranks, and therefore we'll be able to quickly assist you in whatever services that you may require from us. We'll be very available and ready to assist you as quickly as possible. Now, just as a brief to open up the space for Q&A, we had some questions that we received earlier that we'd like to just use it as a curated process to bring in the Q&A session for us to handle it. And so the first question, perhaps Abel, you can answer this one. The validity of a certificate of conformity. What is the validity of it? And this certificate cover multiple shipments, or does it only cover one shipment, for instance? Maybe you can answer those two questions, combine them as one answer. Abel?
Okay, thank you, Wesley. Yeah, the validity of the certificate we issue is valid only for 90 days. So applying for the certificate should be in mind of the shipment time the shipment might take. So applying in time and considering the shipment time is also important. So the certificate of conformity is valid for 90 days. And one certificate is only used for one shipment only. For every commercial invoice, the client needs to have certificate of conformity. So for each shipment or for each commercial invoice or pro forma invoice, the client needs to have a separate certificate of conformity from us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me just attempt question number 3 and 4, then we can continue with there. Why you think the PVoC should be conducted at the country of export instead of Ethiopia? And when should an importer or an exporter apply for a certificate of conformity? First, I think because it's a pre-export verification of conformity, meaning that it has to be done before it has been exported. It's important because if it lands in Ethiopia and there's a problem with that particular shipment, then the losses are so big, are so diverse. And so we don't want you to be in a place where you can actually have to undergo that particular loss. So let it be done before it has been shipped. You can be able to interrogate the product, do any interventions that are needed in advance before it comes into Ethiopia. And I think the right time for you to apply for a certificate of conformity is when you have an order coming into Ethiopia. You already have chosen and agreed with your supplier a particular goods need to come into Ethiopia, and you have a commercial invoice or a pro forma invoice for that particular matter. I think that's the right time to apply for a certificate of conformity, and our offices will be very ready to help you with regards to the process to go from starting up till finishing and getting a certificate of conformity, God willing. So what about, Abel, if I ask you, what steps then should this importer follow to ensure that compliance is done before acquiring the tier? What should this importer do? I think you mentioned it briefly in the main body of the text, but what do you think this importer should do to follow to ensure compliance before acquiring this the COC? Thank you, Abel.
Okay, thank you. If this question is coming from the importer should actually know the test report. The test report has its own validity, which means there is the period of applicability. The test report has expiration date, so they need to know or make sure that the test report has not expired, and it should be applicable for the products that are actually the importer planning to import to the country. And also, the test report should come from an accredited laboratory. The test reports should be generated from an accredited laboratory with the ISO standard 17025. So the laboratory should be providing these test reports, and they need to make sure that the test report, which actually is provided by the supplier or the exporter, to be authentic. So we need the client needs to know the validity period of the test report. The test report is actually generated by accredited laboratory, and they need to make sure that the test report is authentic and traceable. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Let me just try and attempt this one. If you have not sent your questions on the Q&A, I think send them now, lest you'll be left out. But don't feel left out. You can always send an email to us, and we will be able to reply to you. So if an importer, and I don't know whether this will also capture some of the questions that have been asked in the chat, if an importer or an exporter lacks a valid test report, then what measures can they pursue to meet the regulatory requirements? I think first and foremost is to make sure that if they don't have valid test reports, is that an element of intervention in terms of testing should be done. That means we can either sample ourselves, or we can advise you to send to an accredited laboratory to make sure that the testing has been done according to the ES standards or the applicable technical regulations. So that is one of the ways of ensuring that your goods actually meet the requirements. So testing must be done, intervention must be done, or get a type approval or various norms that come in to help to validate a product and give us the assurance and the confidence that they meet the requirements for us to be able to proceed to the next phase. I think there's some questions in the chat. Sorry, Alexander, let me just ask you to perhaps ask them so that you can follow up and see how to address them very quickly. If they are after those ones, I think what we will do is we will ask you to send any questions to us. We'll be ready. Next slide, please. We'll be ready to answer you on email or even the Telegram chat or even on LinkedIn. We'll be available to answer those questions and also meet you. If you have a telephone number, we can even give you a call and be able to meet you at that need. So Alex, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Wesley. Thank you, Wesley. Thank you, Abel, for this great webinar. As mentioned, we've received a few questions in the Q&A tab. If you have any more, we'll be able to help you guys by email. Maybe, Dana, you can go to the next slide when there is a contact, please, as well. Okay, so one of the questions we received is from Bein. Sorry if I don't say your name correctly. I would like to inquire about the support Cotecna offers in terms of training and certification programs to help companies like ours better understand and comply with PVoC standards. So it's more about the capacity building programs, workshops, and resources tailored for exports in Ethiopia. This is a great question. We do a lot within Ethiopia. I'll let Wesley and Abel confirm that part, but I'm sure we can definitely help you guys.
Correct. Actually, it's true. We have a lot of training that we do seminars, awareness seminars that we do in Ethiopia that can be able to help you to understand PVoC. It's more like a capacity training kind of thing, training that we put together. So watch out for the next one that is going to come very soon. Once you hear that it's available, please come over. Then we can be able to take you through the process, the training, and even other services that we do currently for our clients in Ethiopia and even outside of Ethiopia. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Another question we received, please advise if temporary imports are subject to the same requirement as permanent imports for vehicles, for example.
Actually, for now, electric vehicles are out of the program, which means ECAE will do the inspection and testing at the destination. So whenever the importer imports these vehicles, they will be subject to inspection by ECAE. So they have the requirements with the ECAE.
Thank you, Abel. The other question I received, is there an approximative time frame for testing to be done if this is required?
Let me take that one. I think for testing, it's very broad, it's very wide. I'll give you a very quick example before we wrap up. Number one, if I'm testing for food, let's say I'm testing for chocolate, I want to test the parameters for chocolate, and vis-a-vis I'm testing for a generator. So the two products are so diverse that one will take perhaps 20 days or 30 days, like the generator, to, testing for the cycle test, testing for endurance, all that takes like 30 days, for instance. But for the chocolate, if I'm testing it, it might not take more than 10 days. The microbiological and the heavy metal tests and the physical and characteristics of chocolate will take like maybe 10 days at most. So really, we can't tell you about time frame in terms of testing of products. But if you can tell us what product it is, then we can be able to interrogate you and the product, and also find out what testing will be required, the time frame, etc. But it really is varied, and we can give you an exact one for now. But yes, testing has got its own duration based on the products that have been subjected or presented for testing. Thank you very much. Alex, are there more questions?
Thank you, Wesley. The last question to wrap up everything: will you share with us the presentation via email? Yes, we will. We'll send it to the email with the one you've registered yourself with. So that's the last question. Wesley, I'll let you wrap up. Thank you guys for this session.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you everyone who has joined. In Ethiopia, in Amharic, we say "Amasagalano," which means thank you. Our commitment to you is very simple: is that we will be there to help you every step of the way with your certification needs and conformity assessment needs in line with the program that has been given. So feel free to contact us anytime. There is nothing that will be difficult for us to not achieve if we're able to work together. And also, together with the authorities, ECAE and the ministry, will be able to come up with a solution for any shipment that comes in. So please feel free to contact us, Abel, myself, and the rest of the Cotecna team who are in this particular chat. Please feel free to contact any one of us, and we'll be able to assist you. So with those few remarks, let me say a very big thank you once again. Wish you a very great evening wherever you are, or afternoon wherever you are. I pray that you have a wonderful evening, and the rest of the week will be fantastic for you. So thank you very much. Amasaganalo. God bless you.